What's up, everybody? It is January 18th. Welcome to episode 18 of The Murder Mentality. I appreciate y'all tuning in. I appreciate y'all listening. Want to talk about something that's kind of a hot button issue. Maybe not a hot button issue, but let's talk about limitations. I think that it's worth noting that in a real way, many of us are boxing God in to what our potential is. Now, when I say that, what I mean is that we're not recognizing that God is limitless. Our potential with God inside of us is absolutely limitless, but we come through our life and our experiences to believe certain things about certain stuff, and as a result, we tend to behave in a particular way regarding those things. You'll find that somebody that believes that they'll only ever make so much money, or that they'll never make it above the poverty line, or that they're going to be poor their whole life, or that they're going to struggle their whole life, will actually throw ideas and concepts, throw information that could literally be the level up to their next level in life out the window. It's like this whole concept. I've seen a bunch of memes of it over and over again, and I think it's kind of funny, but it's almost like I kind of find it insulting in a weird way, but it's like, they're like, dirty hands equals clean money. That's not how that works necessarily. It's kind of funny that people place this idea on it that if you don't work your dick into the fucking ground for the money that you make, that somehow it's not legitimate. But the reality is that the people that climb their way out of those situations do it by gaining new information. They do it by realizing that they are limiting their potential by placing that potential inside of a box. So what my invitation to start kind of a little bit of a backwards thing from what we normally do to you today is stop putting God in a box. Stop waiting for some lucky break and start making them for you. Literally, if you had told me last year that I would have the income level, the success, the momentum built up that I have right now, last year, I would have told you you're crazy. But I removed a lot of the concepts. I removed the idea from my life that there was a ceiling. Because when you, great analogy. I love this one, okay? So, if you go look up, pictures or videos of elephants in, rural India, and areas where they have elephants like that out there, and they keep them as pack animals and stuff like that. They do this weird thing where they're literally tie an elephant to a stake with a rope that's so tiny that this massive animal could break that rope in half without even trying, okay? But what they've done is from the time that animal was tiny and it couldn't break that rope, they tied the same rope to it. And it learned from a young age that that rope would keep it from going anywhere. So later on, it doesn't even attempt to escape or change its fate or do anything different. But that's because it believes that that's going to hold it back. That's what you're doing with your potential. That's what you're doing with your life whenever you say, well, I don't know if I'm cut out for that. Anytime you say something like, well, I could, or I would, but, and you follow the word but after something that you might actually want or a type of life that you'd love to live, you're placing God in a box. You're placing the limitations of your human mind on your Creator. Spirit is limitless. The Spirit of God, the Spirit of creation is literally limitless, and it lives inside of you. Each moment where you're like, well, I don't know if that's really how that works. How is it going to look when I get that successful? What's my life going to be like if I do this? I don't know how to even start. How do I make a plan for something that I don't know what that is? But here's the thing. You make a plan as you go. You decide the destination and you build the plan afterwards. You don't wait to build a plan until you have a perfect vision of what you might be able to make with that plan. You can't make a fucking plan without a destination. That's not how it works. But yet, we have this idea that it needs to be a foolproof plan before we even decide what we want to do. We think that we need to have every bit of information that's ever existed about that thing before we can do it. But that's not how it works. It's placing the limitations of your negativity. It's placing the limitations of your physical concepts and understanding on spirit, on God, on the Holy Spirit, on Jesus, whatever you want to call it, man. You're placing all of the things that you could ever want in your life in a box of, I'm not sure if that'll work. And again, my invitation to you today is to take God out of that box. Take your potential out of that box and recognize that your potential is so limitless, it's mind-blowing. If you told me I'd be where I am now 5 years ago, I'd have spit in your face. But I'm different now because I eventually believed it's possible. When you go to bed at night, picture yourself going to bed where you want to be. That plants a seed, and God will make it be. Make time, may take time, but have faith. Okay, literally, look, I want you to understand that God willed creation into existence. He used words. In the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. When you go to bed at night, I want you to do more than just picture where you want to be. I want you to have it written down. And I want you to fucking read it out loud. There's power in your words. There's power in the passion. And if you're not willing to put the basic effort of writing something that you'd like to have very much in your life down on a piece of paper, I don't believe you fucking want it. And I'm not saying that to be rude. I'm not even singling anybody out here. I'm just saying that as a general rule of thumb. I hear people, well, what I want to do is blah, blah, blah. Oh, really? Have you written it down? Do you have a plan? Have you placed limitations on it? Okay? Like, I went from saying, well, I want to have a net worth of $2 million. And that wasn't the exact number. To literally saying stuff like, I want to, in the next 5 years, clear no less than $100,000 a month. Notice the difference? One of them is no less than. It means that I would be ecstatic if I was hitting $1 million a month. All right? But the reality is, as long as I say, well, I want to have an income of $10,000 a month, that's a fucking good money for most people, but it's a limitation. And because that limitation is there, your brain has like a limiter. It has a regulator the same way like most engines do nowadays. It might say 120 miles an hour on that fucking car. But really, once you hit 90, it starts like, because it don't want you to go faster than that. It's actually factory set. Well, your brain works the same way. When you decide something's possible, all of a sudden, it changes it. Look, people didn't used to think that you could run a mile. I don't even know what the exact time is, but I want to say like 2 or 3 minutes. Like there was like a limit. They're like, it's not possible. You'll die. Human beings can't go that fast. And then the first time somebody beat that record, all of a sudden, all around the world, boom, 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 people started shattering that record over and over again. But it's because none of them believed it was possible, so they didn't try. But one person did, and I wish I remembered his name offhand, but I don't. You should look it up. It's rad. But one person did, and he put that effort into it, because he believed it was possible, and eventually he did it. And that is the same way with every achievement throughout human history. People are like, that's not possible. But now it is, man. If you had told somebody 200 years ago that a dude with face tattoos would be trying to preach spirituality and wisdom on a social media platform that doesn't exist in real life but is somehow flying through the air and it's beaming information from space back into their fucking hand in a magic picture box, they'd have burned you at the stake. Okay? But yet, now we take it all for granted. And I'm telling you, you're taking your potential for granted. God is inside you. Spirit is inside of you. Spirit is limitless, which means that you are limitless. Your potential is limitless, and it's only held back by that governor, by that limiter that you've placed inside your own mind. Sit down and write down a fucking 6-month plan, a 5-year plan, and then I want you to reread it and see how many fucking limitations there are in it. Stop writing it, be like, well, I want to have this, and I want to have that, and, I want to have this much money in the fucking bank, and start saying, I would like to have no less than. I would like to have a growing income of no less than. I would like to have several houses. I would like to have a situation in which my financial future is so bright that it's mind-blowing to me. I'm saying that, and this applies to anything. This literally applies to any type of goal, any type of future vision, any type of visualization, you must remove the limitations. God is limitless. God is spirit. Spirit is limitless. It is literally, our brains can't comprehend limitlessness. It can't comprehend infinity in a real fucking fashion. So let me just tell you right now, you're not going to understand it. Just accept that it works that way and work with it. You don't need to know why the laws of physics work the way they do to trust gravity works every time I do this. Okay? Okay? So let's trust here. And this isn't even my fucking wisdom. I've learned it from other people who've learned it from other people and passed it down from generation to generation. For thousands of years, this information has been around. Which is why, for thousands of years, people make massive holdings of wealth and live crazy, passionate, impactful lives, and tons of other people don't, because each group of people have decided that one thing is the other way or not. For some reason, we have this idea in our lives like fucking being rich is evil. Like, I've heard people, like, I was talking to my homie Trey this morning, and like we were talking about Nikola Tesla and fucking Thomas Edison. And everybody hates on Edison. They're like, oh, well, he stole it. He's a capitalist. He's a piece of shit. He didn't even really know how to do any of that stuff. But here's the reality, is that Nikola Tesla didn't have the vision that Edison did. And if it wasn't for Edison having that vision of what could be accomplished with using that something for a commercial level, none of us would be experiencing what we're experiencing right now, including probably the cell phone. Including the cell phone, most likely. All right? 100%. You have to remove the limitations. The reason why Nikola Tesla never did a lot of stuff is because he had ideas in his head that certain things shouldn't be monetized or not be. But the reality is because of the monetization of them, all of a sudden it's all over the whole fucking world, because money isn't inherently evil. It's a reflection of influence, social influence, and fucking physical influence in the world based off of it's a made up concept. But what it really directly translates to is that this person has massive influence in the world if they have massive amounts of money. And if you have very little money, you have very little influence. Barring a few minor exceptions, obviously. But the thing is, guys, is that, like, if it's 2022, which it is, and your finances are fucking horrific, you don't have the money that you want, you don't have the lifestyle you want, you don't have the family you want, you don't have any of the things that you fucking want, it's only your fault. It's your fault for not believing the information's out there. It's your fault for not seeking the information. It's your fault for not putting the effort in because you don't believe it's fucking possible, because you've placed your potential in a box and then locked God in that box with your potential. Your very soul, your conscience, the authentic voice of God is crying out to you all the time. We need to do better. We need to do better. And I'm not talking about like, oh, let's get all the money so we can ride jet skis everywhere. I'm talking about let's get financially fucking solvent as a fucking society, so that literally that we're all working together so thoroughly that it's impossible for us not to level up the whole fucking human race. Let's bring everybody up with us. Let's share this information. The craziest part about all this stuff, literally the craziest part about all this, is that all of these supposedly evil rich people are making fucking massive impacts on the world. Massive impacts. Changing whole fucking things. Some of them for not for the better, but most of them for the fucking better. Most of them for the fucking better. Literally, like, I want you to consider, if we didn't have these major corporations that everybody wants to shit on because it's owned by a billionaire and they're not fucking pulling their fucking weight, whatever, what the fuck would everybody else be doing that works for them? Maybe, just maybe, we could, instead of hating on those people, use their blueprints. If other people can do it, so can you. If I can go from being in a fucking trap house to being a multiple six-figure earner with fucking face tattoos, so can you. It's no longer about what's holding you back. As my homie said this morning, man, the new gold rush is in your mind. The new gold rush is in your spirit. It's in your ability to believe something is possible no matter the evidence. Okay? That's what real faith is. Faith doesn't imply that you have fucking evidence to prove it's going to fucking be there. Faith implies that you believe that it can be so no matter fucking what, and that you will find a way to make it happen no matter how difficult it becomes. Could you imagine how much better your fucking situation in your life would be if you just believed that you could earn twice as much as you earn right now? And that's a limitation. We've already talked about that. At least twice as much as you earn right now. And be at least as fulfilled by that life, and have actually to be able to put maybe less work long-term than you're putting in your current job. Could you believe how much different your life would be if you believe that so thoroughly that you just started right now working towards that new life? You started making a plan to make that happen. But instead, we're like, no, probably all I'll get. I don't even have a fucking college education. Me either. Fucking GED. What's up? Good enough diploma. Guys, I love all of you, and I want to see everybody live dope lives. I want everybody to live a life that's inspiring as fuck to them. But you're not going to do it as long as you put God in a box. So unlock that box. And I want you to ask a different type of question and saying, instead of saying, God, why me? Say, God, what do you have in store for me? And then chase that shit down. Have faith. That vision got put in you for a fucking reason. All you got to do is believe it. I love all of you guys. Write the vision down so that he can read it, can run with it. Talk to you tomorrow.